Summer State University, soaring high with excellence, seat of innovation, we'll build and serve the nation. So be your future and dreams come alive. So come on to Summer State University. Summer State University. So come on to Summer State University. From our humble beginnings, we began to shine. From taking little footsteps, we began to climb. Near or far, we have reached across summer. From Katbalog and Pasay, from our hopes we walk their aisles. Achievements and awards now in place. Join us and we'll show you the greatness of SSU. Summer State University, soaring high with excellence, seat of innovation, we'll build and serve the nation. Summer State University, it's the best for you and me, your future and dreams come alive. So come on to Summer State University. From our humble beginnings, we began to shine. From taking little footsteps, we began to climb. Near or far, we have reached across summer. From Katbalogan, Mercedes, Paranas and Pasay. From our halls, we walk their aisles. Achievements and awards now in place. Join us and we'll show you the greatness of SSU. Summer State University, soaring high with excellence, seat of innovation, we'll build and serve the nation. Summer State University, it's the best for you and me, your future and dreams come alive. So come on to Summer State University. Summer State University. So come on to Summer State University. From our humble beginnings, we began to shine. From taking little footsteps, we began to climb. Near or far, we have reached across summer. From Katbalogan, Mercedes, Paranas and Pasay. From our halls, we walk their aisles. Achievements and awards now in place. Join us and we'll show you the greatness of SSU. Summer State University, soaring high with excellence, seat of innovation, we'll build and serve the nation. Summer State University, it's the best for you and me, your future and dreams come alive. So call footsteps, we began to climb.
Near or far we have reached across summer.
From Catbalogan, Mercedes, Paranas and Pasay. From our halls we walk their aisles.
Achievements and awards now in prize. Join us and we'll show you the greatness of SSU.
Summer State University, soaring high with excellence, seat of innovation, we'll build and serve the nation. Summer State University, it's the best for you and me. Your future and dreams come alive. So come on to Summer State University. Summer State University. So come on to Summer State University.
When I am down and all my soul so weary,
When troubles come and my heart burden be,
and I am still and wait here in the silence until you come and sit a while with me. You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas.
I am strong
When I am on your shoulders, you raise me up to more than I can be. There is no life without its hunger.
each restless heart beats softly perfectly.
But when you come and I am filled with wonder, sometimes I think I glimpse eternity. You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. strong when I am on your shoulders. You raise me up to more than I can be. You raise me up to more than I can be.
Mga kababayan, ang pambansang awit ng Pilipinas.
With your arms ever outspread,
drugs and alcohol can change how the brain works and interfere with a person's ability to make choices, leading to intense cravings and compulsive use. Over time, this behavior can turn into substance dependency and addiction. Good afternoon, everyone. Hi, good afternoon. I am so excited to welcome you all to our webinar this afternoon entitled Alcohol and Drugs Effects on Mental Health, because this is not only for the students of SSU. We also have invited students from other schools and agencies here in Samar. Okay, so we are also live from our Facebook page, SSU-S Student Welfare and Development Services. Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone on FB Live. We'd like you to interact with us by typing your comments and shout outs. And also to our Zoom participants, welcome aboard. We also have here with me the whole team of SWDS who are very active with this activity. And if you are sharing this on Facebook, you can use our official hashtags, hashtag SWDS No to Alcohol and Drugs, hashtag Kabataan Laban sa Droga, and hashtag Ang Kabataan Ang Pag-asa ng Bayan. Okay, so in behalf of Team SWDS, I would like to acknowledge our University President, Dr. Marilyn D. Cardoso, our 4 Vice Presidents, Dr. Ronald Orale, the Vice President for Research and Extension, Dr. Lydia A. Gonzalez, the Vice President for Administration and Finance, Dr. Felisa E. Gomba, Vice President for Academic Affairs, and Engineer Maria Lourdes P. Amante, our Vice President for Student Affairs and Services. So I would like also to greet the Director of Student Welfare and Development Services. She is here with me now. Good afternoon, Dr. May Canyal. And also the deans and directors of different colleges and campuses. A pleasant afternoon to each and everyone. I hope you are all excited because we have an expert speaker to tackle important information. But before we proceed to introduce our speaker, let me present to you our house rules and netiquettes for today's activity. Okay, so welcome participants. So this is going to be an amazing symposium as long as everyone follows these simple rules. So rule number 1, for those who are in Zoom, please turn off your microphone if not needed. Rule number 2, your name in Zoom shall appear coded by honorific name dash affiliation. For example, we have Miss Jessa dash SSU. So for example, if you're from other school, you can you can rename your names like Miss Andrea dash Summer College, Mr. Juan dash SSU, Miss Grace dash SSU. So for rule number 3, for FB Live participants, you may share or tag, mention your friends to join this FB Live stream. But please, please, please refrain from posting unnecessary comments in the comments section. So rule number 4 for Zoom participants, questions and clarifications will be entertained after the talk. By then, you may turn on your cam and mic, or you may use the chat box. The moderators will cue you if you are already recognized. So rule number 4 for FB participants, you may key in your questions and clarifications in the comment section, but will be entertained after the talk. Rule number 5, please stay until the end of the symposium. And lastly, for our rule number 6, make sure to fill out correctly the attendance and evaluation and answer the post-test to secure your certificate of participation. So an important reminders, attendance and evaluation link will be opened until December 2020. And on behalf of those who will not be able to join this live stream of this symposium, you can also fill out the evaluation and attendance. So, Okay. Okay. And okay, sorry for that. And now for the rationale for this activity, let us all welcome the Head of Psychological Wellness and Services, Miss Maria Andrea C. Del Rosario.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much, Miss Junia. Right. So I am here to present to you the rationale of this afternoon's activity. So why are we conducting alcohol and drugs effects on mental health? So just to give you an overview, a person's mental health refers to the condition of an individual's psychological and emotional well-being. Poor mental health can lead to severe complications, and so it is vital for people to take care of it, to take care of our mental health. So, with this, one way of looking after one's mental health is to take into consideration the effects of drugs and alcohol. Because alcohol and drug misuse does not only affect our physical bodies, but is also related to cause disruptions in individuals' lives and is linked to many causes of stresses, anxiety, depression, memory loss, and in some cases, death. So this is actually the main reason why we are conducting this free webinar to educate everyone on the effects of alcohol and drugs, not just on our physical health or our physical bodies, but also to our mental health. We also invited a competent resource speaker who really worked in the field of addiction and recovery to talk about this topic. So at this point, to introduce to us this afternoon's resources speaker, let us welcome the Director of Student Welfare and Development Services, Dr. May V. Caniel.
Yes, good afternoon, our dear students of Summer State University and to our other participants from other schools and others agency. Again, for this afternoon, we will be talking about the effects of mental health and alcohol, mental health. So our speaker for this morning, for this afternoon, have been working in the field of recovery in the field of addiction and recovery for 12 years as an internationally certified addiction professional, recovery coach, and a registered nurse. He's been working with different agencies from government and private sectors around the region and abroad, providing them with knowledge, understandings, and skills in the field. He's also into developing programs for individuals and communities, equipping them with necessary tools that will help them thrive in the recovery from addiction. His qualifications includes International Certified Addiction Professional 2, International Recovery Coach, Global Master Trainer Basic Level, Universal Treatment Curriculum, a registered nurse, a recovery support specialist, a master's in nursing, major in psychiatric nursing, and minor in community health nursing. Ladies and gentlemen, our dear students, let's welcome our resource speaker for this afternoon, Mr. JAYVEE S. AQUINO.
Hi po, good afternoon. Yeah,
Good
thanks for
afternoon.
coming in a Saturday afternoon. So, I would like to thank Doc May for inviting me, and of course, the Samar State University. It's been an honor to do this workshop with you guys because Samar is so close to me because my father is from Borongan. Okay, so anyway, our topic this afternoon is about the effects of alcohol and drugs. Okay, just a little bit of background. Alcohol is also a drug. Okay, sometimes we separate it, but it's all the same. But before that, let me show you this video. This is one of my favorite video in about the effects of alcohol, and drugs. This is called Nugget. Can you see the video?
Yes po.
Okay, what do you think happened? So what did you observe on the video?
Unting-unting tumatanda, sir.
Unting-unting tumatanda. Okay, what else? What did you observe from the start and then going to the last clip of our video.
Ang una, sir, ano, hindi niya pa gusto. Tapos yung nasubukan niya, inulit-ulit niya na, sir.
Okay. So, okay, what else? Looking at your chat box, so if you want to type something, so I will just read it. Okay, that is a simple video of our topic today. So it talks about this bird called nugget. Okay. So I'm going to share to you my slide. Now, so our topic this afternoon is alcohol and drugs, effects of mental health. So why do you think people take drugs? So despite you already know na it's illegal, merong consequences, so why do people take drugs? Anyone?
So others take it out of peer pressure.
Yes? Medyo choppy.
Peer pressure, sir.
Okay, peer pressure. Okay, what else? Since I'm sharing my screen, somebody read the chat box. Yes, it's curiosity. What else? Okay, of course, it's to feel good, di ba? Most abuse drugs produce intense feelings of pleasure. So, kaya nga ginagawa kasi they experience this intense feeling, di ba? In fact, they describe it as euphoria, di ba? So, more than pleasurable, they experience this high. And others, to feel better. So some people who are experiencing depression, anxiety, stress-related disorders, okay, they start using drugs to feel good and then to feel better. So, and then they start abusing the drugs in attempt to lessen feelings of stress. Others, to do better. What examples do you see in our community? That one, to do better. We always see in the news about truck drivers, accidents, bus drivers. So the increasing pressure that some people feel to chemically enhance or improve their athletic or cognitive performance can similarly play a role in initial experimentation and continued drug abuse. So other examples is this one is students, they want to study. Since they want to do better, they want to study, especially if you are using stimulants. So meron siyang effect na it can enhance your focus. And others out of curiosity because others are doing it. So in this respect, adolescents are particularly vulnerable because of the strong influence of fear. They are most likely, for example, to engage in thrilling and daring behavior. Tama yun. So as you can see, so the three factors that contribute drug abuse is first, emotional, feeling they need drugs to feel their lives, whether it's stress, trauma, relationship issues, and more. Next is the physical, feeling likely they need the physical effects of high or low to physically feel better. And psychological, general feelings of inadequacy towards themselves or the world. So they use drugs to boost their confidence and self-esteem and ability to make sense of things. Okay, so what happens if you keep on abusing drugs? I keep on using every time I feel depressed, every time I feel lonely, I use drugs, I use a substance, diba? Where does this lead to? Okay. So it affects the brain, diba? So the effects of drugs in the brain, the earlier in life the drug you start, the more problem people with memory and thinking. The longer addictive use continues, the more difficult it is to think clearly and make healthy decisions. So especially for you guys, for students, diba? For teens. So imagine this, our brain continues to develop from ages 5 to 20 years old. The cognitive part of our brain, ba, that is responsible for problem solving, decision making, ba? So when the brain continues to develop into adulthood and undergoes dramatic change during adolescence, so it's basically gearing towards adult roles. So what will happen if you introduce drugs into our brain? Okay. What do you think will happen? Instead of gearing towards adult roles. I'll check the chat box. What do you think will happen? Okay, it remembers the substances, diba? So that's why it's harder for teenagers, diba? It's harder for teenagers and for young adults to recover. It's not impossible, but it's harder for them because the drugs are already embedded to their cognitive part of the brain. So of course, it leads to addiction. So, if you know the definition of addiction, diba? According to the National Institute of Drug Abuse, so addiction is defined as chronic, relapsing brain disease that is characterized by compulsive drug seeking and use despite harmful consequences. So when you say chronic, diba? Pang matagalan, okay, just like hypertension, diabetes, diba? So all my life I will be carrying this hypertension or diabetes, ba? So if I don't take care of myself, if I have hypertension, so what will happen? So my blood pressure will increase. And if I am diabetic, so if I am sedentary, at saka I don't take care of what I eat or I don't exercise, mangyayari, tataas yung blood sugar ko. Okay? So what do we mean by compulsive drug seeking and use? So if you think of a person, craving for chocolate, okay, or craving for food, so what happened is that it's 3 times more of that, or 3 times, 4 times more of that. Okay, so it is considered a brain disease because drugs changes the brain. They change its structure and how it works. Diba na-mention kanina sa post natin? So as you can see, the right side, your brain on drugs. This is an example. This is an MRI of a brain. Diba? So as you can see on the left side, the color is much vibrant. You can see red, yellow, and of course, the blue. Diba? And on the right side, you see the brain of a drug abuser. So what happened? Diba? Okay, nawala na yung red spots, medyo hindi na clear yung green spots, at nangyayari is that parang dark na siya. So there is an evidence of change, diba, in the brain. So these brain changes can be long-lasting and can lead to harmful behaviors seen in people who abuse drugs. So when we look at the television, when we look at the social media, look at the news, or even hear from our neighbors, diba? So they talk about the effects of substances. Okay? So maraming taong napapatay, diba? So nangyayari is that they get arrested or naka-aksidente, things like that we see and hear. So what makes people vulnerable? So vulnerability. What do we mean by vulnerable? Ba? Okay.
Sila yung madali makapitan ng mga sakit.
Okay, madaling makapitan ng mga sakit. Okay, tama. So, dito naman in the context of addiction, meron din tayong vulnerability. Okay? First is a family history of addiction. They pass down in their genes. Okay? So, hindi naman ibig sabihin na paglabas ng bata is may dala na siyang shabu or umiinom na ng alcohol. Ang ibig sabihin dyan is that altered na yung genes niya, and when he or she is introduced with substances, automatically hihiyang sa kanya. Diba? Okay? But it's about around 50% yung chance, diba, ng people. Others is environmental. A history of stress, trauma, poverty, and hopelessness, mental illness, or physical illness. These conditions can change the chemical balance in the brain and make people more vulnerable to addiction. So, mangyayari is that stress na yung tao, ba? So, when they are introduced with drugs, this is the most easiest way to relieve the struggles, to relieve the discomfort. So they keep on repeating it, diba? Remember, if you keep on repeating it, ang nangyayari, it changes the structure of the brain. Of course, the presence of mental illness. So can you imagine if we liken the brain, say for example, a remote control in your TV, okay? So if you press the channels, it moves forward the TV, no? Okay? So if you press volume, okay, it lowers down or it increases the volume. So that's a normal function of the remote control, okay? So if this remote control is already broken, plus you introduce something, okay, let's say for example, we introduce water. So obviously, it will break down, okay? So just like that analogy, okay, so if you introduce drugs to the brain who already has mental illness, so it will really affect the person. Of course, the drugs they use, let's say for example, drugs like heroin, crack, cocaine, and methamphetamine make people vulnerable to addiction more quickly because of the way they work on the brain. Ba? So if you say the most dangerous, I read this in the article way back, the most dangerous drugs they said is top 3, okay? So heroin, next is methamphetamine, shabu, and then next is the cocaine. I will ask you, what is the hardest to treat? Sige na. Who wants to try? What is the hardest to treat? Yeah. Addiction. Specific, what specific substance is the hardest to treat? They said, diba? The most dangerous drugs is heroin, methamphetamine, at saka cocaine because they are so addictive. So, but what is the hardest to treat? Trivia lang. Just a konting trivia natin. Anyone? Okay, just information for everyone. The hardest to treat, in my experience, is alcohol. Okay, so kasi ang daming withdrawal symptoms. So meron tayong alcohol withdrawal syndrome. Okay, so pag hindi maagapan, so it will cause death person. Okay, so meron tayong mga mild cases na nag-shakes at nag-tremors lang. And in severe cases, nag-convulsion, ba? Experience fever, of course, and then they experience hallucinations. Okay, so when you see them first time, okay, when you see them first time, parang okay lang. But after hours or even 2 days, ba? When they stop using alcohol, apparent na yung shakes nila at saka mas grabe na yung ano nila, ang mga kondisyon nila. Okay? So, it's hardest to treat. It's because you really have to coordinate with other professions, diba? Like, you really have to coordinate with doctors, nurses, for the person. Okay? Of course, being young when use begins. So this is what I told you earlier. Na if you keep on using drugs earlier, so it will be embedded into your brain. Okay? That's why people, diba? Young adults, if they start on using drugs earlier, diba? It's harder for them to make healthy decisions. Okay? So we understood that addiction changes the brain in many ways that create strong urges for drugs, make it hard to think clearly or resist these urges, and provide relief only when people are taking the drug. Okay? Addiction is truly a disease. Okay? So as you can see, this is a similar scan, the MRI scan. This is a picture of an image of brain who has used drugs in controlled manner, and this one is in an abuser, diba? You can really see the difference, diba? So the vibrant colors are gone. The same as you having a heart disease, if you have a healthy heart, so klarong-klaro yung colors. Pero dito sa kabila, diba? You see a diseased heart, so medyo mawala na yung colors. Okay. So addiction and the brain. All drugs of abuse target the brain's reward system by flooding the circuit with dopamine. Okay. So dopamine is a neurotransmitter. This is a chemical that produces pleasure. Okay. So as you see, this is a structure of the brain. So dopamine is mas marami siya dito sa ating limbic system. Okay? Let me show you a video about the neurotransmitters and dopamine. Can you see the video?
Yes, sir.
I don't know, but walang put. Wala bang sound?
Wala po, sir.
Yes, sir. No sound po.
Wala po, sir.
Ay, happen. Okay. Ito na lang, i-walk through ko sa inyo ha. Sorry, I don't know what is happening. I'll just walk you through.
Hello, sir.
Okay, as you can see in our video, this is inside of our brain. So, meron tayong mga neurotransmitter. So, in our neurotransmitter, it looks like they are connected, no? Pero, meron tayong, okay, space dyan sa gitna, called the synapse. So, one neurotransmitter sends the message and the other one receives the message. So, may communication inside the brain natin. So, this is how we experience normal pleasure. Okay, as you can see, this one, the blue one are the dopamine. Okay, so what are those normal pleasure that we experience? Diba? It's like eating food. Okay, what else? Achieving something or procreating, diba? Sex. Okay, so these chemicals are released every time we experience pleasure. So this is a normal way of experiencing pleasure. So it sends, diba? So the transmitter sends the dopamine, and then the receiver, okay, this one, the receptor receives the dopamine. And it will go back to the transmitter. Okay, so this cycle will go on, okay? So as you can see, it goes back, no? The transporter. Transporter tayo dyan, okay? Bumabalik yung mga dopamine. Okay, what happens if you use drugs? Okay, in this case, we have the meth. You can see this green one. Okay, that's the meth. Okay, so meth acts like hijackers. So, ang nangyayari, pumapasok sila and then hina-hijack nila yung mga dopamine receptors. At saka, inilalabas nila, nagpa-flooding ng dopamine. So, when you experience flooding of dopamine, you experience an intense pleasure. Diba? So, it's 3 times the experience you have your favorite food. Okay? So, to make matters worse, they block, diba? This transmitter, so the dopamine cannot go back. So ang nangyayari, so pabanda-banda lang sila. So that's why the people who use meth experiences high 6 to 12 hours. Okay? So this is what happened. Okay? So may flooding. So you see the difference between the normal pleasure and the hijack pleasure. Pero smart talaga yung brain natin. Okay? So, alam niya na hindi normal to. So, he compensates. Okay? Of course, if you keep on using the dopamine, it will deplete. Okay? Plus, for a longer period of time. So when you keep on using, other transmitters get damaged and others, diba, mawawala sila as a compensation sa natin, sa body natin. So anong ginagawa ng tao? So since nag-develop na, yun yung tinatawag natin, develop na ng tolerance. So thinking na when you get more, you experience the same high. Okay, so people think if they instead of drinking beer, drinking one beer only or one packet of shabu, so ang nangyayari is they increase the dosage. So that's an indicator if you have high tolerance, okay, increase na yung dosage mo, that's an indicator your brain is slowly changing. Okay? So this is what happened. Diba? So na-observe nyo, yung dopamine medyo kulang na. Diba? And the other transmitter, okay, mawawala sila. And the receptors, okay, natago just to compensate. Okay? Kasi alam ng brain na hindi to normal. Okay? So it's harder for a person to get the old high or the first experience that they get when they use the drug. Okay? Klaro ba? Napa-improve. Okay, who knows these guys? So I've heard that we have psychology students here. We have from psychology department. You know who this guy is? Yes, of course. So this is Mr. Ivan Pavlov. Why did I drag Mr. Ivan Pavlov here? Okay. So if you know Mr. Ivan Pavlov, he was a Russian physiologist, primarily known for his work in classical conditioning. From his childhood days, Pavlov demonstrated intellectual curiosity along with unusual energy, which referred to as the instinct for research. Okay, he is famous for, di ba? Yung dog at saka bell. Classical conditioning. He's famous for, well known for the classical conditioning. Okay, so as you can see, before conditioning, so if meron kayong mga aso, di ba? If you're preparing food, they get really excited, right? They get really excited. They know there's food. Okay, and before conditioning, so ang ginawa ni Ivan, okay, parang friends lang ka, no? Okay, ang ginawa ni Ivan is pinaring niya yung bell. So this is the neutral stimulus. So ang nangyayari is that walang response yung aso. So meaningless yung yung bell sa kanya. But what happened is that he introduced the bell. Every time he gives food, he rings the bell first and then he gives the food. Okay? So it did not happen for an hour or one day. It happened for days. Okay? It happened for weeks. Okay? So what happened is that after weeks of doing, repeating, okay, what happened is that Ivan rang the bell. So without the food this time. So what happened to the dog? Bah? Excited, and the dog experienced salivation. Okay, so same as giving him the food. Okay. Another Pavlovian theory is called the place preference. Okay, so if you see a rat, if you see a mice, so their instinct is to go to dark places, no? Because this is how they evolved. This is how they evolved because they don't want to be seen in mid-daylight or in clear open space because, of course, mamamatay sila, di ba? Kakainin sila ng pusa or mga predators. Okay? So this mechanism is so embedded to the genes that automatic talaga yan, tatakbo sila sa madidilim na place. Okay? So what happens is that this study they lace the water with cocaine. Okay? So what happened is that when the rat drinks water, nangyayari drinks water in an open space. Okay? So nire-reward nila ng water with cocaine. it didn't happen for days, I think weeks. Okay. So weeks lang. So ang nangyari is that they removed the rat from the cage, and then for weeks, no, tapos nilang ginawa to. So they put the rat in the middle of the room, a well-lighted room. Ang nangyari is that, what do you think happened? Yes, the rat didn't move. Okay, so it's waiting for its reward. Okay, it's waiting for the cocaine. Okay. So why am I talking about this? Why am I talking about this? It's because of triggers. Okay. So trigger is a stimulus that has been repeatedly associated with. Ba? So sinabi ko sa inyo kanina, so if we keep on repeating it, if we keep on repeating it every time we feel sad, diba? We use drugs. Every time we feel anxious, we use drugs. Or we want to celebrate, we drink alcohol, we use drugs. Okay. So a trigger is a preparation for anticipation of alcohol and other drug use. So the use of alcohol or other drugs. These stimuli includes people, places, things, time of day, emotional states, and secondary use. Okay. So let's move on and talk about the 4 phases of addiction. So just like I said before, you don't get addicted in just one use. Okay. So that's a misconception that somebody used this, or somebody used the substance, somebody got na peer pressure siya, gumamit siya ng substance, automatically addicted na yung person. Hindi. So meron tayong mga phases. Okay. So this is based on the modality that we use. Okay. So in Matrix Institute of Addiction, okay, an intensive outpatient program. So the first phase is introductory phase, also known as experimentation. Ba? The maintenance phase, recreation or regular use. Disenchantment phase, the problematic. Disaster phase, or the addiction. Okay? So, dyan pa lang, medyo meron na tayong idea, no? Say experimentation and recreation na. So, this is what happens to the brain, our cognitive process, yung problem solving natin, yung yung skills natin for decision making. This is what happens to our brain. In introductory phase, ba? So, introductory phase, ba? Sa experimentation, cognitive process. What do you see? Di ba? Meron tayong weighing scale, di ba? As you can see, weighing scale ba tawag dito? Okay. So, old weighing scale, no? Okay. So as you can see, there are more positive aspects than negative aspects. Diba? Medyo matimbang yung positive aspects. So people know that it's illegal. It's expensive, hangover, and of course you miss work. Diba? So anong nangyayari? Diba? So at this point, diba? So anong nangyayari? People, when they start using substances or they get curious and they just want to try, so they experience this feeling of mataas na yung status nila, especially for teenagers, energy, some use it for sex drive, work productivity, thinking ability, and euphoria. Of course, they experience these positive aspects first. That's why ang negative aspects sa kanila is parang baliwala lang. Okay? So, conditioning process during addiction. So, introductory phase. Ang strength ng conditioned connection, mild lang. Ang mga triggers niya is during parties and special occasions. So, the responses when he takes the drug, he has pleasant thoughts about alcohol, the drug, no physiological response, and infrequent use. So, kumbaga, this person in introductory phase is using drugs at least once a month, okay? Pag may okasyon, diba? Pag may parties. So hindi Madalas, okay? So parang nag-start pa lang siya, okay? So gaano siya ka-obsess? Wala pa, okay? At this point, when you see a person at introductory phase, so super functional at wala, makikita mo talaga walang problema. It's because basically he just tried using, diba? He just tried using or hindi madalas yung paggamit na. So ang nangyayari is that fully functional pa siya. As you can see, kumakain pa, may sports pa, may girlfriend pa, o sana all, okay? Family, okay? Parties, hobbies, okay? Yung craving niya, yung kagustuhan niya, gumamit ng droga. So, wala pa. Okay? So, when he enters a using site, hindi related sa kanya. Okay? Pag gumagamit na siya, that's the time he experienced increased heart rate, energy, tumataas yung energy niya, and the taste of life. So, let's include the family. What happens to the family in introductory phase? So basically non-recognition. So parang wala lang, okay? So it's a regular thing in the family, parang walang nangyari. Of course, they get confused regarding occasional atypical behavior. Let's say for meth, so what happened is that when you're taking meth, okay? So hindi nakakatulog, diba? Because super stimulated yung brain. So ang nangyayari is that naglilinis ng bahay sa madaling araw, 2 a.m., 3 a.m., or gising pa, okay? Nag-fix ng mga electric fan at saka iba, di ba? So tawag nila din is pag-trip, nag-trip, okay? So admiration for abnormal accomplishment achieved through alcohol or other drugs. Okay, for people, di ba? For people who are using this to perform, di ba? To perform, to enhance their performance. Let's say, for example, if I am a worker, construction worker, okay? So, wow, ang bilis ng trabaho, ang galing, okay? Super overtime, di ba? For students naman, nagsa-study, okay? So, ang nangyayari is that they get affirmed sa kanilang using, okay? So here, let's move on sa maintenance phase. So what do you see? Mabigat pa rin ang positive aspects. Okay? Of course, relief from depression, confidence booster. You use it as confidence booster because at this time, medyo nadalasan na. Diba? So pag meron silang mga business talks or meron silang mga performance stage, okay, ginagamit nila. Relief from boredom, sexual enhancement, social lubricant, para makapag-mingle ng mga tao, okay? So, ang negative aspect naman medyo apparent na. May vocational disruptions. So, ang nangyayari is maliliit na responsibility. Let's just say na if I am a father, so medyo if early morning, inaatid ko na yung mga anak ko sa school. Okay, that's my usual regular thing. It's because I use drugs over the weekend, okay, or the night. So I get so tired. Okay, so I overslept. Okay, so ang nangyayari is that yung mga ganun, mga maliliit na bagay, okay, napapabayaan na. Okay, and of course, may relationship concern. Diba? So, ang nangyayari is that may strain na sa family, okay? Tsaka may financial problem because at this time, mapadalas na. Okay? Kasi sinabi natin doon is regular use na eh. Beginnings of physiological dependence. Hinahanap na, di ba? So, meron na siyang, excited na siya towards using, okay? So, at this rate, from mild, it goes to moderate. Okay, as you can see, the triggers, di ba? You notice these triggers. So medyo napadalas na. Dati, once a month lang. Ngayon, kasi stress na stress ako sa school. Friday nights, gimmick tayo. Di ba? Dapat sa parties, nandoon. Friends, kung makikita yung friends, nati-trigger na. Di ba? Or weight gain, extra money, sexual situation, of course, depression. Okay? dito is moderate na. So thought of alcohol and other drugs, medyo iniisip na. Kasi pag Monday pa lang, iniisip na, sana Friday na. Kasi para makapag-gimmick ako, okay? Mild physiological arousal, medyo excited na, hindi na mapakali, anxious, di ba? Anticipation of use, okay? So may mga plano na, okay? Cravings as use approaches, and of course, occasional use. So what do you see in maintenance phase? So at this stage, medyo ano na, okay? Dalawa na siya, okay? This red represents alcohol and other drugs. So at this point, medyo nandyan na siya, part na siya sa ano, sa mga activities. Okay? If you see, anong nawala? Sports, di ba? So as you can see, wala na yung sports. Let's say for example, if I have scheduled playing basketball with my friends every Friday, nawala na yung ano, nawala na yung schedule every Friday because na-replace na ng paggamit na or pagigimik ng barkada. Okay? So ganun. Okay, development of craving response. Okay? So what happened? Okay? So medyo meron ng response to craving no, hinahanap na kasi. So when he enters the using site or when he enters the bar, okay, or the areas where he used to drink, or he used to do drugs, okay? So meron ng excitement, di ba? So what happened to the family at this moment? May experimentations with solution. So nangyayari, may curfew na at nadadamay pa yung ibang kapamilya. Supposedly, si Bunso lang yung nalilate palagi dumadating sa bahay. Pero nadamay si ate at saka si kuya. Okay? So meron ng strict na rules ang bahay kasi sa nangyayari. At saka even yung iba may extreme responses, diba? Pinapalayas na, kina-cut off na yung allowances, at nadadama yung mga kapatid. Okay? And of course, you can see in this point, meron ng enabling sa family. Okay? So what is enabling? Okay, in short terms, in our term, no? So nagkukonsente. Okay. Let's say for example, perfect example is this one. Okay? Hindi naman ako nag-generalize, pero ito usually nangyayari. So usually yung mother okay? So if meron nangyayari kay Bunso, okay? So tinatakpan. Okay? Siya yung bumibigay ng pera, okay? At siya rin yung let's say mas strict, okay? Mas strict sa person. So para siyang cycle, natawag natin to na cycle of codependency. So the enabler is enabling the person, okay? Binibigyan niya ng pera, okay? Tapos sinasabihan niya, okay? Let's say for example, Junjun, okay? So bibigyan kita ng 1.2 million allowance for the whole week, okay? Para mag-ano ka, okay? Para mag-ayos ka, okay? So anong nangyari is naubos ni Junjun at saka is starting to steal money na in the family. So naggalit na galit si mother. Okay? The mother becomes parang prosecutor, parang judge. Okay? Alis ka sa bahay. Layas ka dito. Okay? So pinapalayas na si Junjun. Kasi ikaw, ganito ka, ganito ka. Okay? So lumayas si Junjun. So nangyayari, after few days, so the mother becomes the rescuer. Okay? So the mother becomes rescuer, tinatawagan yung mga kapamilya. Uy, nandyan ba si Junjun? Okay? Bigyan mo siya ng 1.5 million. Okay? Baka hindi pa yan kumakain, pakainin mo. Okay? At sabihin mo sa kanya, pwede na siyang umuwi sa balay. Sa bahay, sorry. Okay. So, nang nangyayari, the cycle of codependency. Okay? So, bumabalik sa enabling. If the parent doesn't know what he or she is doing, So, continuous yung cycle. Okay? So what do you observe? This one, disenchantment phase. So on cognitive process, wala na. Okay? As you can see, mas mabigat na yung negative aspects. Ha? Sa positive aspects, yung social currency, gumagamit na lang para makapag ano ng socially, di ba? Maka-interact. Occasional euphoria, di ba? That's why he keeps on repeating using drugs, thinking that he can get that euphoria, di ba? That he used to have, di ba? Relief from lethargy and stress because his life is already stressful, may problema na dyan, may problema na dito. So ang nangyayari is that ang ginagamit niya na ang shabu just to get us to wake up or just to relieve this discomfort. In negative aspects naman, makikita natin yung meron naka-experience na ng infection, may financial jeopardy, okay? So utang doon, utang dito, ang utang may utang, okay? So ang nangyari is hindi na nakapag-remit sa asawa or if estudyante, yung pinamigay, sana ibibigay yung tuition sa school, hindi na binibigay, okay? Relationship disruptions. So ang nangyayari, may problema na sa bahay, palagi na nag-aaway, family is in distress, and of course, impending job loss. For students naman, okay, nagda-drop out na, ba? Meron ng mga mga subjects hindi na pumapasok sa mga subjects. Okay, in disenchantment phase, kung makikita mo, strong na. Dati, ang triggers niya is every Friday lang. Ngayon, whole weekend na. Pagkatapos ng Friday, okay, Saturday bukas. Pagkatapos ng Sunday, okay, Sunday naman bukas. And pagdating ng Sunday, okay lang, last hurrah ko to kasi Monday na bukas. Okay? And of course, dati meron lang siyang selected friends. Ngayon, kahit sino na. Okay? Kahit sino na yung mga kasama niya. Kasama niya sa kainuman, di ba? And every time na-stress siya, gumagamit boredoms, gumagamit anxious, gumagamit after work, gumagamit, and then loneliness, gumagamit. Okay? So responses is continual thoughts of alcohol and other drugs. And strong physiological arousal, psychological dependency. And of course, dito na niya ma-experience yung strong cravings. Diba? And of course, frequent use. What do you observe? Okay, so as you can see, this moment, no, medyo, if I am talking to this person, if I know this person, okay, so what will I notice? Automatic kasi yun, na medyo off na tong person na to. Medyo ano na siya, okay, meron ng problema na apparent, okay, so it's not like this before, diba? So tingnan natin, hindi naman to ganito dati, sobrang bait nito, di ba? Meron tayong mga stories na ganyan. Okay? So as you can see, almost, di ba, ang alcohol and other drugs is almost overtaking the activities of person. So obviously, if you see this person, medyo off na siya, di ba? The development of craving response, just by thinking of using automatic changes in his brain, di ba? And he enters inside, he experiences powerful psychological response. And of course, when he uses, at that time, he feels the heart rate increases. So, ganun. In disenchantment phase, the family is avoiding the problem, di ba? Sometimes, pag kinausap ng family member din, uy, saan na si Junjun? Sometimes the mother will just say, oh, okay lang, nandun sa bahay, di ba? Okay lang naman siya. And then he diverts the conversation. So parang hindi na pinag-uusapan. Okay? Nahayaan na lang. Of course, they blame the addicted. They blame themselves. What did I do wrong? What did I didn't do, di ba? And guilt and shame. So sa community, parang hostile na. So if a person is experiencing guilt and shame, medyo hostile na sila, di ba? And in this moment, sa disaster phase, the cognitive process during addiction, so what happened? Okay. So the positive aspect almost, wala na. Gumagamit na lang just to relieve the fatigue, the stress, and depression. So basically at this moment, parang zombie na lang, no? Gumagamit ng gumagamit. So this is what we see in television. This is what we see in stories, okay? So ang nangyayari is that we often see this negative negative aspect, no? May paranoia na, loss of family, nagsi-seizure, diba? May sakit-sakit, no? Severe depression, unemployment, and of course bankruptcy. So ano mangyayari sa person na to? Okay, it will resort to extreme, diba? Extreme behaviors, extreme and dangerous behaviors. So that's why they sell money just to get the substance that they want. They sell drugs, I mean. Okay, they sell drugs, they steal, okay? And of course, they do things, no? So just to get that drug they want. Okay, from strong, it becomes overpowering. So the triggers any emotions na, any day, night, work, or no work. Dati, weekends, at saka Monday, ngayon, wala lang ano. So the time, when they wake up, okay, overpowered kasi yung feeling, yung urge, ba? Yung connection sa substance, so automatic. Obsessive thoughts, balik-balik na, di ba? Compulsive, di ba? Compulsive yung paggamit, obsessed na sa droga, okay? So powerful autonomic response, ba? Even people who are addicted with meth, so even by thinking they want to vomit, okay, experience sila ng diarrhea, okay. So meron na silang responses sa katawan nila. So this is what I'm talking, na intense na ang kanilang cravings, and then automatic na ang use. Okay. So what do you serve? No? Almost all the activities, or perhaps wala nang activities. Doon na lang nakafocus sa drugs eh. So itong tinatawag sa rehabilitation center namin na live to use and use to live. So doon na nakaikot, diba? Doon na nakaikot yung buhay nila sa paggamit ng droga. Okay? Automatic na yan. Thinking of using, wala na. Automatic na. Of course, this is the time sa disaster phase or addiction phase, no? Separation, internalization of bad feeling, resignation of hopelessness. Wala nang pag-asa tong bata na to. Okay? Establishment of unhealthy family rules. Wala na. Even family when they get separated. Okay? Kasi nagde-develop ng dysfunctional family, no? Okay, nangyari, nagkakanya-kanya na lang. Okay? So it's just like that, no? So from voluntary use, so addiction is like, nobody dreamt when you start using, when you start drinking, nobody dreamt na wala namang dream na they want to become addicted. Okay, one day I want to become an addict. Okay, when I use this drug. Okay, when I drink this alcohol. Okay, it starts from voluntary use. Okay. So it's like a switch. When you turn it on, okay, and when it comes to the compulsive drug use, ang nangyayari is harder for the person to turn the switch off. So that's why interventions are needed, treatments are needed. So ganun ang nangyayari. Okay. So I think this is my last slide. Okay, so I guess it's the question and answer time. Andyan pa ba kayo? Good afternoon. Meron ba kayong question? Yes. I want to become an addict when I use this drug. Okay, any questions so far? When I guess it's okay, we have a question here. Okay, somebody, Jembert asked, are the changes in the drug-dependent person's, okay, basically it's the brain, no? Okay, so that person body, reversible, sir. Okay, so meron naman tayong, ano, yung brain natin is, ano, it's very resilient at the same time, nag-a-adapt siya. Okay, so there are billions and billions of neurotransmitters. So basically, the brain will just adapt, no? Okay. So, but it will take time. So may mga studies, before may mga studies na hindi na, pero ngayon is, meron studies na slowly it's healing, no? Okay. What else?
Wala na yatang questions sa JV.
Ah, wala na. Okay. So, another. Okay, meron pa. I'm sorry if this is slightly off. Pero can sex cause addiction? I've heard it can cause it an instant burst of happy hormones. Of course, there's what we call substance use disorder, and then there is this non-substance use. No, it's a different case, but still it's an addiction. So ang focus lang natin is with substance use. So different story din yun, okay? May mga experts din dyan. Kasi may sex addiction din, di ba? So may gambling, okay? Even people who are addicted with work, mga workaholics, okay? In your own experience, what do you propose as the best solution to curb drug addiction? Wow, okay. I am a believer of drug demand reduction. I don't say na supply reduction is not effective. What I believe is just like the government is doing right now, it's adjusting to three-pronged approach: the supply reduction, the demand reduction, and of course, the harm reduction. So I am in the field of demand reduction. So demand reduction per se is from prevention and of course treatment, increasing our treatment capabilities in the Philippines. Okay, and of course in prevention, improving our mental health services. It's not just informing children about or informing young adults and people about what is addiction, but basically improving our mental health conditions here in the Philippines. Say increasing and meaningful activities for the teens. Okay, so if you can see, if you have a time, you can search on how Iceland curbed their alcohol and drug problem. Yeah. So they focused on the teens and mental health services. Of course, the Portugal model on drug demand reduction, that they focused on prevention and saka treatment. Because as you know, contrary to what is the social media is promoting, always the violence, always the ugly side, but there are people who do recover. There are so many stories that you never heard about, okay, because they were not sensationalized, okay. For me, in drug demand reduction side, Okay, so I know treatment is effective. Okay, I know that prevention is effective if done the right way, a correct way. Yeah. Of course, and hand in hand with the supply reduction. So wala namang bibili sa supply kung wala magdi-demand. It's just like an economy, di ba? Meron pa ba? Oh, the government has this moral recovery program. Will this one part our efforts to save our young people getting into drug use? Okay, so of course, different. I don't know about moral recovery programs, no, but these are the things na siguro we should take seriously. Okay, so not just implementing the program, but really have an extensive research that fits into our cultural needs or yung demands na ating mga teenagers, diba? So it can be a part of a solution. I'm not here to ano kasi I don't know about the moral recovery programs of the government. Any questions?
Okay, sir. I guess there are no more questions here on Zoom and on Facebook.
I'm really thankful, no. I really appreciated your dedication to come here. Supposedly it's Saturday, no, and you are all resting in your house, but you gave time for this webinar, and I really appreciate Ma'am May for inviting me, and of course the Samar State University, okay, for making this happen. Again, for the viewers, there is help, okay, available. Okay, if you are in doubt, if you have so many questions about addiction and drugs and of course alcohol, there are so many resources, no? Di lang sa nakalagay sa Facebook, but you really have to look for good resources like the National Institute of Drug Abuse, the WHO. Of course, sa atin is the Department of Health. Okay, again, thank you very much po.
Okay, so thank you so much, Sir JV. Indeed, all misuse of alcohol and drugs can affect our brain. So the dopamine, the neurotransmitters that helps us regulate our emotions, memory skills, feelings of pleasures can change how our brain works, leading to interfere our choices. So, okay, for our participants in the FB Live, you can now key in your questions if you have questions in the chat section or in the Zoom. Our moderators will accommodate your questions. Okay. Okay. And to award the certificate to our speaker, let us all welcome the Vice President for Student Affairs and Services, Engineer Maria Lourdes P. Amante.
Samar State University, Catalogan City, Philippines, Office of the University President. Certificate of recognition is awarded to JAYVEE S. AQUINO, in grateful recognition for imparting his valuable insights and expertise as a resource speaker during the webinar on alcohol and drugs effects on mental health, held on November 28, 2020 at Samar State University. given the 28th day of November 2020 at Samar City University, Catbalogan City, Samar. Signed, Dr. Malindi Cardoso, University President. Thank you so much, Sir JB. Congratulations. Thank you so much.
Very much.
Congratulations. So, addiction and substance dependence is a condition with far-reaching consequences. So families are torn apart and trust is often broken. So not only addicted individual, but also friends and families suffer. So that's why it all comes from making the right decision and sticking with it regardless of the difficulties that we face. So if you have loved one who faced with addiction, or you, on the other hand, know that there is hope beyond the tunnel. Remember our hashtags, mental health matters. So, hashtag SSU-SWDS, no to alcohol and drugs. And again, for our important reminders, attendance and evaluation link will be opened until December 2020 on behalf of those who will not be able to join the live stream of this symposium. So we also have upcoming webinars for the whole month of December. So we have on December 2, we have VAUC and Boosting Career Drive. And on December 9, we have Symposium on RA 9442. And in the afternoon, we have HIV and AIDS webinars. And also on December 12, we have stress management. So, abangan, because we have invited experts, speakers for these webinars. So, that's it. So for those who are in Zoom, I would like to remind you to please stay on Zoom because we are going to have photo op with our speaker after the Facebook Live. Thank you so much. This is Junia Pagliawan, your activity facilitator and MC for today. Good afternoon.
For home and country, for our nation's great